This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview.
Joining us today is Sean Wade, the CEO of Power Metal Resources, following news from their Molopo Farms project and financing news. Well, thank you very much for joining us today. Sean, how are things?
Good morning, Mark. Yes, very well indeed. Thanks. Very nice to see you.
Well, thank you for your time. I wonder if we can pick up first of all on Molopo. And I remember we spoke about this before Christmas on the planned activity with the idea to drill in Q1. And of course, the news this week confirming that drill rigs are being mobilized to site. So first of all, how are you feeling about this and the team that it's finally starting again?
Well, it's extremely exciting. Look, we know how important Molopo is to our shareholders, and it's a very, very high priority target for us, always has been. We believe it is a world-class potential asset, district scale in size, and it's extremely exciting to be getting underway with this particular program, which obviously builds on drill programs that we've done up to this point, and obviously a lot of work most recently on the geophysics, which I think have really closely defined our target area, and we can't wait to get started.
Excellent. Can you say how much planning has gone into this, and are the drill team fully briefed for hopefully a successful drill program?
Yes, absolutely. I think what I would say is on the preparation, this has been extremely detailed, and I know that people have been keen to see progress here, and as have we. But you'll know, and your viewers, you'll know, one of the oldest cliches in exploration is that you measure twice and you cut once. The more that you can define your target, and the more you can narrow down the data to focus in on where you want to drill, the better chance you have of success. And we've undertaken a tremendous amount of work incorporating obviously our in-house geological team, the in-country team, but also the geophysical consultants that we use. And we announced in the recent RNS that we've undertaken an AMT survey, and this is really the final piece in the jigsaw that the geophysicists have put together to get us into the right location for the drill. So everybody is all over it. Everybody's prepped and looking forward to it. And we are, as I say, extremely excited about getting started. And I'm pleased to say that first of all, the drill will be turning in the coming days. The equipment has been mobilized to site, as we've said, and that is all underway as we speak. And I'm going to be on the site myself next week to meet with the team and to see firsthand how we're progressing, and to better understand for myself exactly what our expectations are, and to really underline, I hope, the great importance of this project for our shareholders.
Oh, good. That's good to hear you're going on site. Maybe we can do a catch-up when you're there, depending on how the signal is. That would be good. I bet you're looking forward to that, Sean, first time on the site.
Absolutely, yes. And look, I think people know that I'm not a geologist, and so I don't want to get in the way, but it is nonetheless important to over time, to see the sites, to meet the team. It's about, as you said, everybody getting very excited about the project, and for people who are on the ground, and the in-country teams, to really understand that the corporate team in London, is closely involved and right behind them and supporting them in all their endeavours, and that's obviously what we're seeking to do.
Good. And how long is the program planned to be? Do you know? And also, how are you planning to sort of anticipate communicating to the progress of how things are going to the market?
Yes. Well, look. Again, people I think understand these are complex processes. They're expensive and big and detailed and so forth. And you're talking about 800 meters of drill depth, and it's a diamond drill program. I think we've already been clear on that. And the program itself, we're talking about the T114 target initially. That is probably about 2 months worth of actual drilling. So it's a cause. And naturally, there will be some early stage looks along the way of what we've got. But of course, fundamentally the results depend on the assay testing. And again, that takes time. I know that people, often get frustrated with the pace that assays take. This is often a function not only of the detailed nature of the drill program itself, but also other demand for that the labs might have, and the difficulty of getting your results through. So, I would guide that this will take some time, but we will update the market obviously when the drill program is completed. If we find something that we can talk about in the meantime, obviously we will, with the proviso that it's not going to be the final most accurate information. Talk about the actual timing progress of the drill program, and then when the assays are completed, I'm sure we're certainly looking forward to what will hopefully be a very significant announcement at that point. So we will keep people informed. I can't be too specific about the timelines, except to say that you should expect a couple of months of drilling itself.
Okay, and what would be the main objective that you'd want to achieve from this drilling? I mean, I know we spoke before about potentially looking to JV or attract other interested parties. Would that be sort of the objective there, to maybe make a discovery and attract some interest?
That's absolutely right. I mean, look, fundamentally, we're an explorer, and as such, our objective is to make discoveries. I mean, it's really that simple. I mean, obviously, the model itself is complex in respect to the number of projects and opportunities that we have, but fundamentally, that's what we're trying to do. So we are looking for a major nickel discovery here, and that's what the drill program is intending to do. Now, if and when that happens, then we think about the next stage in respect to financing what would go on to be a resource, and and all the other things that are entailed as opposed to discovery. But for us, the principal objective at the moment is that we're looking for a magmatic nickel discovery, and that's what this program does. So if we get there, then we talk about the next stage. And we have had conversations, as people know, but we feel that there is still a lot of value that we can add to this project, and that's what we're seeking to do with this program.
Okay, good. Well, if we can touch on the other news that you recently announced the financing, raising 1.3 million, cornerstoned by UK high net worth investors and a strategic Saudi Arabian investor. And it was saying in the RNS that the financing will be applied to the acceleration of high impact exploration initiatives and corporate activities across the Power Metals Group. So the first question really is, what will these funds be used for specifically? And are Pure Bond open to help again in a similar way they helped Kavango?
Well, I mean, first of all, look, we're delighted with the support we've had from investors. People will know that the raise was done at a premium, which I think is fairly unusual in the current market. Well, I think it's fairly unusual in any market, to be honest, but I think it's certainly unusual in the current market conditions. And I think what that does is it underlines the extent to which these particular investors can recognize the model that we have, and the opportunity that we have, not just as these markets recover, but obviously as commodity prices improve and opportunities come our way to use our model effectively for early stage exploration and subsequent monetization. So it was great to have that validated. It's always very helpful to have funds. I think I don't want to get drawn too specifically on exactly what we're going to do with the money, because there are a lot of opportunities at the moment, both in the current portfolio. I mean, obviously, we just talked about Molopo. We've got Tati as well that we're going to be talking about. Well, I'm sure we'll come on to that in a second. But also, we have all these new opportunities emerging for us in the Arabian Shield, which, incredibly exciting, and will require some capital investment, no doubt, along the way. So we'll talk more about project by project and how we're going to deploy our capital. Now, as far as Pure Bond are concerned, again, just to reiterate, I mean, it's fantastic to have them on the register. They're very well known to investors, and they are a very, very supportive investor, and they're taking an important stake in the company. As far as what the plans are for the future, that's very largely, well, that's obviously up to them, and we would hope to be able to talk more about that as time goes by. So, but we will obviously keep the market fully informed as to what our capital requirements are and how they evolve. And I'm sure that the support we've had from these new shareholders, will be a part of that.
Okay, well, hopefully we can hear some more about how those funds will be deployed in due course. We will talk about Tati in a moment, but you do mention perhaps new ops in Saudi that you probably can't talk on at the moment. But I do just want to pick up on that whole Saudi element, really, because we're hearing more and more about the Saudis opening up for both inward and outward investment. And I know it was a big part of your strategy. You've been out there yourself to the Future Minerals Forum. How do you see this region playing in the mining exploration industry in the future? And are POW planning to be really in the front row seat?
Well, that's a really great question. I mean, look, fundamentally, they're going to play an enormous part in the exploration phase, the discovery phase, the development and the production phase, all the way across the mining value chain. The Vision 2030 that the Kingdom has very clearly sets out its goals for the mining sector in relation to the rest of the economy, and the attitude within the country at government level, with an investor level, and at the corporate level, people that are currently operating, is extremely bullish, extremely positive towards mining, with a very, very helpful and can-do attitude towards inward investment. So the likes of us coming in and taking opportunities there. So absolutely, we want to be in the front row for those opportunities. And I think people saw at the recent forum that we signed a memorandum of understanding with the Ministry of Investment. And what that does, it creates a relationship essentially at a government level, which assists us with our objectives to get licenses and opportunities in the Kingdom, and to make the kind of contacts and investment and so on that are needed to really start getting to work on the ground. So it was very gratifying to be able to do that, and we're getting great support from the government there. And we are absolutely focused on being a major player in the exploration side of mining there. The feedback we've had has confirmed what we believe, which is that our model is absolutely ideal for the early stage opportunities that are emerging across the Arabian Shield, whether it be Saudi Arabia or Oman, with a very similar objectives in respect to their Vision 2040. So, look, it's going to be very exciting. There's going to be a lot of news, and we are working on some opportunities at the moment, which we hope to be able to announce to the market soon, which will show that we're actually getting started with some actual exploration opportunity.
Good stuff. Well, I look forward to waiting to see those results then of what might come from there. Let's talk about Tati then, and of course the soil sampling. This is a question that someone sent me. What's the deal with the soil sampling, and will you make a decision immediately after you've got those results back through?
So I do appreciate that people have been waiting for news on Tati, and I know it's also a very high priority for our investors, as it is obviously indeed for us. So what I can say is that the results are in. They're currently being digested by the in-house geological team, and the intention is to release an RNS hopefully next week, in the early part of next week, detailing what those results tell us. Obviously, they come back from the lab, and the guys need time to assess them in the context of what's gone before, and obviously further their understanding of the project. We're doing that, and we will release those to the market as soon as we can. As I say, I hope that will be in the early part of next week. Now, as far as the next stage is concerned, I don't think we're not necessarily going to rush into an announcement based on these results of exactly what the next stage is. I think we have to be careful and measured about that. We have to think about a number of issues, which obviously capital adequacy clearly being the obvious one, and clearly in the context of having just raised money, that gives us perhaps some flexibility there. But I think we've got to consider carefully what the next steps will be. Tati, there are lots of aspects to the Tati project. It's not just a simple 8 kilometre long gold anomaly, exciting though that is. There are other aspects to it which we have to be carefully considering before we release a sort of clear strategy on the next step. So what I would say is it's something that we are very conscious of. We strongly believe that it is a hugely valuable part of the portfolio, and somewhere where we can release a lot of value to shareholders. And so we're going to make sure that we take our time to come to the absolutely right decisions on that.
Okay. Well, 2 final questions, if I may, Sean. Again, these were sent to me. So it's update, if we can, on UEE. Was the plans still for Q1 this year? And then we'll talk about FDR as well.
Okay. So UEE, absolutely. The plan is Q1 this year.
Okay.
We've had an excellent response on this one. We raised some pre-IPO financing before Christmas, which I think people know. And this is now well on its way towards an IPO. So we are undertaking an element of sort of corporate finance activity, if you like, in respect to the shell vehicle that we're using. And once that's completed, we'll be able to list it on AIM is the intention. And the fundraising activity is happening as we speak. We are engaged with investors and who are looking to potentially cornerstone the IPO. We're talking to brokers and various advisors on getting that process completed, and then it's a question of completing all of the various, as I say, the sort of corporate finance activity that's required to get the listing. But that is going extremely well. Obviously, the market for uranium stocks is very buoyant, so the timing is great here. And look, what this will do for Power shareholders is a number of things. Firstly, it's going to crystallize some value from the current portfolio, from the assets that are going in to UEE, and obviously the valuation that we hope to achieve for it should at least transfer straight through to the Power share price through the balance sheet enhancement. So that's number one. But number two, and perhaps more importantly, is that the independent valuation of UEE in the market will help to define the balance of the portfolio that we have in uranium. So at the moment, we're getting a lot of incoming interest in our portfolio. We're talking to lots of different people about deals that could be done with some of the assets going into shells in various different jurisdictions. And, a lot of these deals are potentially very interesting. But what I don't particularly want to do is to do those deals too early and either prejudice the valuation for UEE or for that matter, when we have UEE floated, to have the same sort of issue the other way around. So really, when UEE is up and running and is independently valued by the market, that will help us to understand what the independent valuation is, if you like, for the balance of the uranium portfolio, which will much better help us to do the right deals for shareholders to release the maximum value from that portfolio. I think it's important for people to understand that the value creation in the uranium portfolio does not ultimately depend on an exploration program and a discovery of uranium. I mean, naturally, that's the end goal for these assets. But the interest that's coming through to us already on what are nonetheless still fairly early stage gives us an opportunity to lock in a lot of value at this point. So, we talk about the uranium bull market. We talk about the fact that Power's portfolio has perhaps been a little bit overlooked, that maybe investors haven't quite seen the potential. And some investors will say, yes, but that's because you haven't discovered anything yet. Well, that's true. But we have highly prospective properties in an incredibly highly prospective area where huge discoveries have been made and which is now fully staked out. You can't now get in to the Athabasca Basin. It is absolutely full now. So this is an extremely hot area and an extremely hot market, and we have a very large footprint in it. So obviously, ultimately, we are seeking to undertake work and make discoveries, whether that's independently just us, whether that's in joint venture with another operator, whether that might even be to dispose some of those assets to somebody who will go on and do that. There are a number of ways that we can achieve significant value in our uranium portfolio. And I would really urge investors to look carefully at 1,000 square kilometer footprint, look what the uranium price is doing, look what other companies are doing that are at a similar stage, and maybe think of whether or not the market is valuing us appropriately on the back of that. So, and UEE is going to be a really important part of that. When that deal gets over the line, as I say, the independent valuation will help to define what the rest of the portfolio is worth.
Okay, good. Well, good to hear that's still on track, and there's been lots of interest in that. Anything you can share on the FDR process as well?
Yes, I mean the FDR process is still very much underway, and I mean, look, I understand that it's taken a while, and Australia has been difficult. There's no question about that. Australian assets, to get Australian assets listed, it rather depends on a positive attitude from Australian investors as much as it does UK investors, and the Australian market has suffered the doldrums just as much as we have, if not potentially even more so. However, there has been a lot of recent interest in FDR. Tristan remains as busy as ever. we're marketing that one very aggressively. I'm going to be talking about it with contacts in South Africa next week. And we have a very active marketing program underway and a lot of interest from the capital markets in getting that deal done. We've looked at a lot of different options. We've looked at shells, we've looked at listings, we've looked at different jurisdictions, because we're fundamentally focused on delivering the most amount of value we can to shareholders. It's not simply a question of just get it listed. It's a question of get it listed properly in the right place with the right amount of capital. And I think we are now homing in on a great solution for it. And there'll be a lot more to say going forward. But I can say to people that it remains a very high priority for us and a very, very active situation.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Sean, for that very comprehensive update. And enjoy next week when you go on site and, of course, to Indaba. And hopefully we can catch up while you're there. But for now, thank you very much for your time, Sean Wade, CEO of Power Metal Resources.
Wonderful. Thanks a lot, Mark.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.